Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to Le Monde, everyone in the world. Hey, we're excited to be here. My name is Jason Asir. I'm joined with my colleague, Juliana Herman. Thank you for joining our webinar, our AMA, or Ask Me Anything session. We're excited to have you here. Just real quick, before we get going, what is EnergyGigs? We're a talent and almost workforce management platform where we connect energy companies to job seekers, consultants, energy experts, freelancers, anything in between over hourly fixed fee and temp to perm projects. Our platform's got both a job board where you can post jobs, as well as freelance module where you can post freelance projects, where you can work directly with independent experts over hourly and fixed fee projects. Yeah, so we're excited to have you here at this month's AMA. It's pretty open, pretty free form. We do have a bit of an agenda that we're going to go through, but feel free to ask any questions you have anytime in the call and webinar, and we will happily take those questions. But at a high level, the agenda for this webinar is we're going to actually just give you a quick update on some of the new features and the MVP, the minimum viable product that we've released. And then we'll kind of go through the company side of the platform. So for you, for freelancers and experts and job seekers out there, you get to see what the companies experience. And then we'll switch and we'll do it for the freelancers perspective. Actually, we'll do freelancers first. We're going to go with the freelancers first, and then we'll go to companies. But you'll get to see both sides of the platform. It is a two-sided marketplace, and so you'll be able to see what each side sort of experiences. And then after that, we'll just go through a couple other open questions, discussions. Julie and I had collated a number of questions from some of our customers and some of our member users that they had, and we wanted to talk through some of those questions. But without further ado, the chat lines are open, so feel free to ask any questions you might have.
Yeah, use the Q&A, ask any questions you have throughout, and we'll get them answered either after Jason's done presenting or immediately if it's on topic. So yeah,
no, that's great. So real quick, we'll just go through the MVP. What we call MVP, it's the minimum viable product, right? It's the smallest increment of product that we've been able to release to market and get experience and feedback from users to help direct which way we're going to build, continue building the platform. So we released the MVP and produced MVP, finally went fully live about 2 months ago. So we were 2 months past MVP, and we've gotten a lot of good feedback since then from users both on the company side and on the talent side. Some of the things that we've added in that time frame since we've gone live with our MVP include credit card payments for companies. We are now working on ACH payments for companies, meaning that they can pay via a bank-to-bank sort of payment method. We're live with payments in the US, so you're able to work with freelancers all throughout the US, anywhere in the US, via our platform. We use a third-party payment provider called Stripe, and that will give us the ability to handle payments internationally in up to 175 countries. We're kind of working right now on finalizing that and getting that done. So you could hire a UX designer in Bangladesh, you could hire an engineer from France, or a wireline engineer in Ethiopia. We have, since we started the company, we have been able to process payments off the platform since we've started the business, and our actually very first international payment was with a geothermal wireline engineer in Ethiopia who was from Kenya. But soon you'll be able to do all of that via our platform. We have had some questions from some of our users about security around payments. How secure is the site? Can I put my payment information in there? Can I put my bank my bank details in there? And part of the reason we went with Stripe is its security, right? It's PCI compliant. The PCI is the Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard. They've been rated as level 1, which is the highest tier in the industry for payments. They also have card information and theft information encryption. So they use an AES-256 encryption method to ensure that your personal data associated to your card can't get stolen. And then also the end-to-end transactions are also encrypted. So HTTPS for all services, PGP keys for safe communication to migrate sensitive data to and from Stripe. Also, Stripe is also, if you're in the US, Stripe is FDIC insured, so there's some additional guarantees there. So that's one of the reasons we're working with Stripe, and we're working hard on getting those other payment gateways. So the 175 other countries that Stripe offers, get that up and running for both sides of our platform. Other things that we've been working on since MVP. Of course, not all projects can be successful. Sometimes you might have disagreements on projects. And so what we call that is a dispute. And so we have a dispute flow now, where if a company posts a project and they're not happy with the work, they can open up a dispute. The same thing on the candidate side. If the candidate has submitted their deliverables to the company and they feel like the company's not being fair, they can open up a dispute. So that flow is now available on the platform. We haven't had any disputes so far, but it is sort of a metric that we will track and we will always be on top of. Other thing that we're working on right now in our platform, it's essentially a fixed fee sort of world that we've created, meaning that a company can work with a candidate or work with a freelancer or an expert over a fixed fee project. And that fixed fee can just be one project, or if it's over $5,000, it'll need milestones. And so what happens is the company has to fund the project in advance. The project is then stored essentially on our books as a liability to us. And once the work is complete, company gives a green light, the candidate submits the work and they give the green light, the money is then released to the company. Now, it's free for candidates, for freelancers, for experts and consultants. Company ends up paying. What ends up happening and how we make our money is we mark up the negotiated rate by 20%, and that's how we get paid. And so up until now, it's been a fixed fee sort of world where companies have to submit milestones, they have to fund the projects in advance. But going forward, for some companies, they'll be able to work on an hourly or a day rate model. And that will be a premium service offering to those companies that are interested in it. And that will allow them to use the timesheet module that we're building and pay the candidates in arrears of the work being done. So we're excited about that. We know that that flexibility will be useful for a lot of companies and allow them to work with different contractors, especially when the scope is maybe a little bit ambiguous and they interviewed with the candidate. They want to work with them, but they don't really know how to fully defined scope and want to work on an hourly or time-based module. Then that's available to them.
Would that be used too when sometimes companies may need the candidate to kind of build out that scope and like define it? Like it might be a little more general, their idea.
Yeah.
And so like they need to find an expert to kind of build that out more.
That's right. Yeah, like companies can work on an hourly module and use an hourly module to define the scope, and then from that defined scope go into a fixed fee or milestone-based project methodology. So we're really trying to map out all the functionality that consultants and experts use off the platform and have it available on the platform. So we're pretty excited about that. Excuse me. I think other things that that you can do now with other features, like all of us have like our own meeting tools, right? Whether it's Zoom, Google Meet, or some other meeting Teams. Oh, heaven forbid Teams, but Teams. You are now able to drop your meeting link into the platform and schedule, have calendar invites go to your personal inbox and have that the EnergyGigs sort of module send you the calendar invite so that you can have the Teams link or whatever link in that meeting, so you can take your meeting tool of choice with you on the platform.
That's cool because everyone has a different tool they're more familiar with, they're used to, and Teams a lot. I have some challenges sometimes being external, but yeah, it's necessary to be able to use it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reality is that everyone's has their own tool, and I mean, at some point we might build in a native, you know, calendaring function or meeting invite function, but right now that's kind of something we'll do a little bit later on down the line. I guess at this point I'll just stop. If anyone has any questions, happy to take any questions people have.
I think maybe we'll get more questions when we go through the platform a little more.
Okay, yeah,
Should we get started?
that makes sense. That makes sense. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that we haven't mentioned. One other thing that I think on the candidate side, we've gotten some feedback around wanting to see how companies view your profile. And so we have taken that advice, that feedback from some of the freelancers or the consultants on the platform. And so now you can, when you create your profile, you can click on view as a company, and so you can see how you know, how companies see your profile, and that'll help in terms of how you present yourself, you know, how you set your rates, what you put in your summary, you know, those types of things. Okay, well, without further ado, let's jump right into the flow. I'm going to sign up first. I'm going to go in first as a candidate, and then we'll go in as a company later on. So one thing before we jump into it, we do have a wait list on the platform, and our team does its best to get you approved and within 2 weeks of sign up. So if you haven't already signed up and you're looking to sign up, know that when you go through the onboarding flow, there is a wait list at the end of it. But we are vetting every individual that comes on the platform. In the early stages, at some point, we'll remove that gate and it'll be open for everyone. But we're just trying to, you know, create a little bit, make sure we have all the right people on it. We don't have bots. We don't want any bots on the platform as well. So so just bear with us as we go through that. But so I'm just going to come in as a candidate. I'm going to share my screen now, and let's look. All right, Jules, are you able to see my?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great, perfect. All right, so this is the landing page, energygigs.com. Now, if you are coming for the first time, you can go to sign up, and you can sign up, I'm looking for work, or if you're a company, you can go, I'm hiring. But in this instance, I've already signed up. We as EnergyGigs, the saying is we eat our own dog food. So we use the platform ourselves to pay our team, to pay consultants that work for us on different modules, different scopes of work. So I'm going to go in as a candidate, and I'll sign in. All right, so this is my platform. This is my profile. Now you'll notice a couple things. The industries that I'm involved with here, and skills. My main skills are sales and business process, but I'm listed. My profile shows both as a freelancer and as a job seeker. So one thing just to note, that when you sign up, you can sign up as a job seeker, you can sign up as a freelancer, and depending on what you select in the onboarding flow, you'll have this button selected. And if you were to, for example, say job seeker, your view will change a little bit. What will happen is, if you're selected, you choose this as a job seeker, you'll be able to add in your salary information here, and there'll be a jobs tab that you can click on. But if you are a freelancer, what you'll see is the freelancer, this part here changes, and you can put in your hourly rate as a you know, if you wanted to work on an hourly basis on projects, you could put that rate in there. And then instead of jobs, you'll have a projects tab. Now, also, you can click both. And then when you click both, you'll have both the projects and jobs tab. I think by default, it should show up as both, but I can't remember if you're a job seeker or a freelancer, if we've enabled that or not. But you can also put your work site preferences here, your resume, and then your profile pic. One thing we do recommend is that you want to bring in your profile pic. You want to make it look as like a real person. So if you don't have a real picture there, you know, companies may be reticent to believe that you're a real person. So please do create your profile. At some point, we are trying to figure out ways to make the onboarding and profile creation experience easier for you. We know that you already have a profile on LinkedIn. We know you have a resume. We're looking at ways of getting that information and making it seamless for you, but we haven't yet figured out how to do it. ChatGPT might be part of that. We'll see. But as you go through the experience, if you have any concerns about that, if you find it painful, always reach out to us, let us know, and we'll go from there. So I've created my profile. I have my rate in there. Let's say my salary expectations are, let's say I want to make $150,000 a year. I put that in there, and this will be my annual salary. Oh, monthly would be great, but I don't think I'll make that. But so let me see. I want to see what my profile looks like. I can go in and look at it as a company view and see what my profile looks like. And so it's loaded. I don't have any reviews because I haven't worked with anyone yet on the platform. But my skills are there. I don't have any foreign languages. I should put that in. I don't have my education or ratings. So education, I can put that in. Ratings will only come when you start working on the platform, and that will be there. Yeah, so that's that feature that one of our expert consultants had asked for. Hey, I want to see my profile. So that's one thing that we built. So we do use your feedback to help improve the platform. All feedback is useful for us. Here you can put in your experience. You can add in your different experience, and that will show up on your profile for companies to see. Same thing with education. I need to put in my education experience. I haven't done that yet. And then payments. So this is the Stripe function that we had talked about. I'm not actively, honestly, not actively selling on the platform, so I haven't put in my payment information here. But this is kind of what we talked about at the top of the call around Stripe, how Stripe works, and the secure payment function. Once you get hired on the job, in order to get paid for the work, you need to have your payment information put in here, your bank information, and then that will auto deposit the whatever the project value was. It'll auto deposit that value in the project. And then settings. So if you had any notifications that you wanted to make, you can add them here. All right, so let's go through and look at the projects. So here are some of the projects.
Jason, like one of the important things in the profile would be to fill out that that about you section or the profile description.
Yeah. I don't have it. Yeah, that's a good call. Like, so hi.
You're gonna do it on the fly.
I'll be doing it on the fly. I'm a process improvement consultant.
And then that's what shows up on that company view about you. So you want to put kind of your best foot forward there.
This is probably a little bit desperate. I wouldn't recommend doing this, but yeah, that's exactly right. You can look at it, and there it is. Yeah. All right. Jules, did we have any questions from anyone come in, or?
Not yet. I think they're still following along.
Okay, great. Yeah, so these are the projects that are live on the platform right now. So our company, we are actively working on, now that we've got the MVP done, we're actively working on getting companies on board to post projects. We understand that there probably aren't a lot of projects yet on the platform, but be patient with us. We're working hard on trying to get companies on the platform. We have right now, I think, 5 or 6 companies on the platform. We've got about 230 independent experts on the platform, and we're talking to a lot of interesting companies at Greentown Labs, which is a climate tech focused co-working space and accelerator in Houston and Boston. And so some of them might have projects coming up soon, particularly in the areas of process engineering. Yeah, a lot of engineering focused related work. Also business consulting. A lot of our consultants, a lot of the sort of our clients that we've been supporting are in the consulting space. So the business consulting space, and they look for people that have energy experience, but have more of a business background. So those are some of our more frequent customers, consulting firms that don't want to carry a bench and that they want to bring on experts in certain areas in the business consulting world to work over hourly projects. Yeah. So this is basically it. And then, like, as a candidate, like I can view the applications I've submitted here, and get status updates on where where my applications are in the process. I think that's one thing that we've realized is like we want to make sure people aren't wasting their time applying to projects that aren't going anywhere. And so as soon as a project gets filled by a consultant, the project will close. And if you had an application in, it'll notify you that the application is your application was not accepted and another person has been hired. But that's, I mean, I think that's pretty much it on Can.
We have a question about like how can you schedule interviews through the platform, or how does?
Yes, you can. So as a candidate, you really can only schedule interviews once your application gets shortlisted. So in order for you to actually get hired by a company, you've got to go into a proposal and submit a bid, if you will, submit a proposal to a project, or submit an application to a job. And then candidates will look at your resume. Companies will look at your resume, they'll look at your background, see if you're a good fit. And if they're interested in you, they'll schedule an interview. In some cases, like they may just hire you directly, and then there's a way for them to skip through that step and hire you directly. That's probably not recommended. We wouldn't. I mean, we think when the first time you're going to work with someone, you probably want to talk to them beforehand. We don't want any of these projects to go straight into disputes. And so we'd always recommend meeting with the company first, and agreeing to some sort of small milestone amount, so that you as a candidate aren't wasting your time if the company is kind of weird, right? Like same thing, vice versa. If your company, your first project with the consultant is probably the one that's the highest risk, right? And so you want to set aside a milestone payment that's and accept that, okay, maybe there's a little bit of risk going into this first milestone, but after other milestones happen, you'll be good to go, and you can fast track it. And then if you work with the company again, then you don't need to interview, you don't need to go through that process.
Yeah, that's probably a best practice on both sides, right?
Yeah.
Like you want to make sure that you get along, that you're talking about the same things, thinking about things similarly. And then also on the side where it's good to have a small milestone to make sure that all like really works out well.
Yeah.
And as a freelancer, you make sure that you're not doing free work and things like that.
That's right. So I think the transparency is a pretty core value for us as a company, and we've kind of tried to build that transparency into the platform. Always looking for other ways to improve in that area. So at the end of the process, when you end up working with a company, if you're a candidate, you're able to review the company, and the company is able to review you, and that mutual two-sided review mechanism works really well because it keeps everyone honest, keeps everyone focused on the prize, which is doing good work and getting it, and then moving on, right? Like, and then you as a candidate, when you bid on other work, you can look and see, okay, should I work with this company? What are its reviews? Is it worth working? I mean, is it worth my time and bidding on this project if they have gotten lousy reviews? I mean, that's kind of where we are building, what we're trying to build into the platform. And granted, it'll take a little bit of time before the marketplace really gets to start humming in that regard, but that's sort of the goal. Yeah. Okay. Without further ado, I will jump into the company side, so you guys will get to see what companies are able to see on the platform. And I will log out.
Sounds good.
And I'll sign back in. Okay, let's see. All right, so I'm signing in as OpEx Digital, which is the not parent company. It's the software company that we kind of spun out of, EnergyGigs spun out of. We have our own account on the platform, and we use it to hire consultants to help us with some of the work that we do. So here as a company, you kind of have the same thing. You can enter your profile description here. You can set your notifications. You can put in your payment information. So I put in my payment information in Stripe here, and we kind of work across the industry. And so all of the industry tags are noted there. Some of the things that we've also added to to this to the company side of the platform is you can invite if you're a company user. Originally, you could only invite one person. And you'd be an admin and you'd have your account. And then if you had another person on your team, they would have to create their own account. So one of the things that we're working on right now is, and we're hope to push to production in the coming weeks, is the ability to invite non-admin users to the platform to use it. I believe it's right now that's in staging in our test environment, and we're kind of doing the finishing tests on that, and then we'll push it to production. But that'll enable companies to have an admin and then have member users. The admin will always be in charge of payments. The member users will be able to post information, but you'll also be able to share notes on candidates. So you can all look at one person and say, okay, this person looks like a excuse me, looks like a great person for our job, and you can share those notes and then hire that person for a project.
Take it out of email or Outlook back and forth and be able to look at everything together. Like the team will be able to work together and see it.
That's right. That's exactly it. And that's the main use cases. We know that it's bringing on talent, whether it's a consultant or a full-time person, is a team effort usually. A lot of stakeholders need to buy in, and so we're building in those features to enable that. But if there are any company users on the webinar that would like to learn more or have questions about how that works, we're always looking for feedback on this functionality. So please do shoot us a line and let us know if you'd like to try it out, and we'll be happy to get you going. So other things that we have, I think we mentioned the payments that you'll be able to. Right now, we're processing payments via credit card. Pretty soon, you'll be able to run payments via ACH, which will be a slightly lower fee to the company. So we're excited about that. That was been a request by one of our consulting users who processes payment through ACH instead of credit card. On the project side, so similarly, you can create a project here, and this is where you would create a project. Any project you post, you can will show up in the feed for the candidates. So candidates will be able to see the projects that you post here. You have two different views, and this is something we're actually going to probably change for the candidate side too. You can have a grid view, or you can have what we call like a Kanban view. So like a card, almost like a Trello view, where you can cards move across. The only difference is that the only way they move across is if, depending on what action happens within the card. So for example, in this instance, we hired a UX designer for our new company website. Once we hired that person, Mariel Gracia was hired, it went from to hire to in progress. And so this project is currently in progress. We're working with her right now on redesigning our consulting's website. So that's one example. Jobs. Now, granted, we're not hiring anyone full-time right now, so there's no jobs available here. But in the future, if we wanted to hire someone full-time, we would post it here. But probably the most important tab for you as a company is candidates, the candidates tab. So this is where you have all of the people that have created profiles, and we have, I think, like over around 230 candidates on the platform. Because we do have a wait list, we've personally vetted, gone through and looked at the profiles of everyone that's come onto the platform since now. We haven't done background checks or anything like that, but that can be done at a cost. If you're interested, please reach out. But in general, like we do look at every single person that comes on the platform. We want to make sure they're aligned, that they have some experience in energy, or show that they're interested in energy in some capacity, right? If you're just coming out of grad school or just coming out of undergrad, and you don't have any work experience, but you show that you have interest in energy, we'll let you through. It just takes us a little bit of time, so just be patient with us, and we'll get you through on the platform as soon as possible. Now, one of the things I didn't actually show you all on the candidate side is that you as a candidate, if you're a job seeker, let's say you're fully employed, you're working somewhere, and you don't want your profile to show up on the platform, but you want to still be able to bid on projects, like maybe it's like your side hustle, or you want to uh, find your next full-time job, you can make your profile invisible, like hide your profile from candidates. That's actually something that's also in our staging environment. That was feedback given to us by one of the job seekers that we had talked to. You know, they currently have a full-time job. They're a capital project manager, but they want to do some other stuff, right? They want to use their skills in a way to make some additional money on the side. And so they've created a profile, but they want to make it hidden. So that's something that we're going to do is you can make it hidden. So not everyone on the platform will be visible in this feed. So
Do you want to show a little bit about the filtering? Because the filter is available for both the candidates and the companies, just to make sure that they're looking for the right and looking for the right projects, finding the right people.
yeah, that's right. That's right. So we do have different filters. So that's a good call out. So we could, as a company, you can search for job seekers, and that should adjust. You can search for freelancers. Some people are both, right? Like, and so in those instances, they don't change. But let's say you want to look at someone who's, I think geothermal was one of the industries that we kind of first looked into. Now you'll notice that some people have a lot of different, profiles here, and so it just updated. So Isaac, for example, he was one of our first consultants, experts that we worked with, and he worked on that project in Ethiopia. And so you can look at their profile, you can look at their resume, so you can click on it and you can look, more about him. He did a fantastic job working with the company out of New Zealand. So these are all people that are in the geothermal space. They have either worked in geothermal or they're interested in geothermal, looking to move into geothermal in some capacity. You could look at engineers. We got some people in Texas. We got some people in Nigeria, because we've had actually some requests for work in Nigeria for offshore work. You can also look at a skill-based level, right? So you could go back and look at skills. And so let's just say you wanted to look at sales. If you wanted to find a salesperson consultant to work with you, hey, there's myself, there's Annalise. Annalise, she's actually working full time now at another place, but Hugo, yeah, so you can find all sorts of people here on the platform. Years of experience, rate types, like if you wanted hourly day rates, location. So one of the things that we actually realized was a gap is we have location preferences. We're going to be changing this up a little bit to show what geography you want to be in. So if you wanted to hire someone in Texas only, or if you wanted to hire someone in Bangladesh, you would be able to use that filter and find that person in that country, or region or city. And so we'll get that. That's one thing that we'll be rolling out probably at the end of the month as well in our next update to production. I realize I am going well over time here.
Well, you're excited about everything we have going on.
Yeah. Well, do we have any other questions, Jules, or do we want to talk through a couple questions before? I know we.
Yeah. So, are there options for promoting or highlighting job postings to attract more applicants?
Yes, like we do on the onboarding flow, we do have places that we've set aside to allow to post banner ads, and we'll work with you on setting that up. Yeah, so we can use your marketing collateral imagery, and we can figure out a way to include that into the onboarding flow so that candidates see any promoted jobs. Yeah.
And then, are there different pricing tiers or packages for companies?
So yeah, good question. We are in the process of putting together a premium package, and I think that's like, I think it's like about $7,500. And then we're working on an enterprise tier, which is for much bigger companies that have different requirements. So we do have that. In effect, you have a startup tier, which is free. You have this paid SaaS sort of subscription, which gives you access to certain features, and then there's an enterprise tier, which gives you even more features and functionality. Like, for example, if you wanted to integrate with your ATS, that would be in the enterprise tier. So please do reach out to us. Happy to talk through that with you. We're in the early stages of bundling all that. So we're also pretty open and to negotiate some of those things, like, in exchange for
Feedback.
yeah, exactly.
Make sure everything works well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyone else have any questions? I think we're over a little bit on our time.
Yeah.
But there was a lot to cover. Okay.
Yeah. So I think the only other thing I would say is for both companies and candidates, we really do take your feedback seriously. We know it's early days in our product, and like you as a candidate, you come on a platform, it's like you come to a marketplace and there aren't enough sellers, right? Like we understand that. I know that's a pain point, and so we're actively working hard to figure out you get more companies on the platform, and also build more density for companies to get more density in skill areas, right? So particularly in the areas of engineering, capital project management, business consulting, those are some of our hotter areas of work that we're seeing right now. Those we're building in density. So we're trying to work. It's a marketplace problem, right? It's like the question of what comes first, the chicken or the egg. Kind of, we take the approach that it's a little bit of both, which means we gotta do both sides. So just be patient with us, but please do give us feedback as you go through anything you think we could do to improve it. Any other tools to help you on your journey if you're a candidate, and let's just say you're trying to build your business. I mean, at the end of the day, like both Julian and I, we're both independent consultants before we did this, started doing this, and we're really a lead source for you. And eventually our goal is you may not need us anymore, and you may want to start your own business, and you can come back and use our platform to hire, right? Like that would be the biggest compliment to us, is if you no longer needed us as a lead source, and that you wanted to use us to help you hire and grow your business, So, but
Or
yeah,
use us for both.
or both, exactly, or both. That's right. That's right. Anyways, well, thank you. I think I really appreciate everyone hopping on the call. Jules, thanks I know we're 8 minutes over. Thanks for moderating. Yeah, and feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions, and
Yeah.
we'll see
Should they
you.
reach out to us at experts@energygigs.com?
Yeah, I like that. That's good. Yeah, it'll reach Juliana and I if you email us at experts@energygigs.com. That'd be great. So
Awesome.
awesome. All right.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
y'all. Bye.
Bye.